very interesting story, and this is to my Kenyan audience. Um, since the demise of Raila Amolo Odinga, most of the party members have been struggling to actually come into terms with the loss. And it has not been good for ODM as a party. And I think this is the toughest time that ODM as a party has been going through since its inception. That the demise of Raila Amolo Odinga has caused a lot of havoc. And this is one of the things that I've always said before Raila died. I said, if anything happened that the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga died before 2027, he would have not left ODM party organized. I mean, even when Baba was around, we could only see signs that the ODM party was not in agreement with certain things. There are people already who were pro-broad-based government, and there are those who were anti-broad-based government. And so many members of the party have been struggling to actually come into the reality. And given the fact that majority of the members of ODM appear to have actually rode on Baba's back to make it to their political positions today, and that with the demise of Baba, majority of them, I think they're waking up into the realization that it appears to be very hard for them in 2027 to make it without Baba. And that is the reason why we're seeing a lot of fractions within the ODM party, a lot of, disagreements and disintegration. People come out. We've seen these people like the Honorable Senator of Nairobi County, Senator Edwin Sifuna, Babu Owino of Embakasi. We've seen even guys like the daughter to former Prime Minister Baba, that is Winnie Odinga, likes of Kaliba Misi, James Orengo. This guy seems to be completely opposed to the idea of working together with Ruto or the idea of the broad-based government. And interestingly, just a couple of days ago, the SG, the Secretary General of the party, Edwin Sifuna, who is considered as one of the most prominent leaders of the party, not only for ODM, by the way, but for Kenya today, a very popular guy, vocal guy, outspoken, articulate, very smart. And I'm not saying that it's only Edwin Sifuna. There are very many other smart leaders in Kenya right now, but I feel that Edwin Sifuna is one of them. And I think he has just come into the top of being, a very good guy in argument. He debates very well. When it comes to debate, he's a very good guy, no doubt about that. A couple of days ago, Edwin Sifuna had an interview on the Explainer with Ivone Okwara. And there's so many moments that actually caught attention of so many Kenyans, especially members of the ODM and the public. And one of the things to know about Edwin Sifuna is that whenever Edwin Sifuna comes on a talk show or on an interview on the national television, he becomes a point of attraction, not only to his opponent, but the entire country. And the moment that happened a couple of days ago on the Explainer on Citizen TV was one of the moments that many people were waiting for. Since the death of Baba, Edwin Sifuna has never been on a national TV for a talk show. The last time he was on the same program, on the same show with Yvonne, was in July or June, like that. And he mentioned so many things. And people thought that maybe after that interview, Raila Amolo Odinga was going to fire Edwin Sifuna, but it didn't happen. And that actually posed a very big question: why Raila Amolo Odinga will entertain Sifuna if Sifuna was not speaking for the things that he believed in? Many people expected that out of all the things that Sifuna spoke in that first interview with Ivone Okwara that happened in June, things that appeared to be contradicting with what Raila Odinga had said, so many people were expecting that Baba would boldly come out and put an end to Edwin Sifuna as a SG of ODM, but it didn't happen. So I think people who think deep started analyzing that maybe what Edwin Sifuna speaks is what Baba speaks. And that when Edwin Sifuna comes out and speaks things, it's actually Baba, not Sifuna himself. So many people came and they realized that Edwin Sifuna appears to be a mouthpiece of Raila Amolo Odinga. And therefore, majority of them were actually scared even to attack him directly because Sifuna seems to be having the support of Baba. Now, The interviews that happened a couple of days ago was very interesting. SIFUNA brought out so many facts. And out of the things that he spoke, one of the things that and Ivone Okwara is not just an ordinary host. If you sit one-on-one with Ivone Okwara and if you survive, if you're not someone who is very smart, articulate, you will panic. You'll panic. So, one of the interesting moments in his recent interview at Citizen with Ivone is when Edwin SIFUNA was asked if he's a more to the former impeached Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. And SIFUNA said he is too big to be anyone small. In fact, people should be SIFUNA small. I look at that and it was very interesting how SIFUNA confront questions sometimes. And he appeared in that interview completely brutal. He was too brutal in the entire interview. And I feel that is one thing that at least leadership, when a leader should have that brutal look and that aggressiveness in confronting issues or claims that people are putting on you, and that was one of the outstanding moments. I feel that he appeared to be very brutal, but also I've realized that in the entire interview that SIFUNA was in, SIFUNA was very, very, very deliberate in his way of answering questions, and I feel that he was he applied double standards. I don't criticize him. I feel especially everyone knows in Kenya right now that SIFUNA is completely against working together with William Ruto. And it appears that even if William Ruto got into a working agreement, the UDA got into working agreement with ODM, Edwin SIFUNA will never ever work with William Samuel Ruto. In fact, Ivone asked SIFUNA if it happens that the UDA and ODM working agreement came into being, and that now the ODM has fronted William Ruto as their presidential candidate, will SIFUNA not work with William Ruto, who is a presidential candidate for a political coalition that SIFUNA's party, ODM, is part of? And SIFUNA said no, he is not going to work with William Ruto, and even went further and said that when you're going for an election, the ballot papers are given to individuals. So those members of ODM who feel that they want to vote for Ruto, they can go ahead and vote for Ruto. But for him, he is not going to vote for William Ruto. Very boldly came out and said that. SIFUNA was asked that now we've seen that the different political factions in the country appears to have drawn only two lines, 1 term and 2 terms. What side is SIFUNA? SIFUNA came out boldly and said he is a 1-term guy. He supports 1 term. You know that? And that he just doesn't see any pathway of William Ruto becoming a 2nd-term president. He doesn't see it. And most interestingly, SIFUNA, I think there is one secret that came out in that video. And I feel that appears, Ivone cannot just come out and ask a question that has no any context and that it has no basis at all. SIFUNA was asked at all if he knows of something called the People's Renaissance Movement, the PRM. And SIFUNA says he doesn't know. And he was asking Ivone, what about it? Does Ivone know anything about it? Ivone was like, no. And Ivone was like, no. So he's just asking. So according to that, it appears like there's someone who has leaked an information about the likes of Edwin SIFUNA forming a different political outfit. And that just that Ivone doesn't have lots of information to actually interrogate SIFUNA on it, but it seems like someone had leaked Ivone with that information about that political outfit that appears to be done underground with the likes of SIFUNA. He was asked if at all has a working relationship with the likes of Winnie Odinga, Babu Owino, Rengo. And I was like, no, these are just colleagues. These are people who have the same political aspirations, who have the same political beliefs, and therefore he's just working to them because they're also members of their party. Very interesting. And one shocking news about one of the revelations that he made in that interview was when he revealed that none of these events that the ODM party was actually doing, things to do with the Nyota projects and all those events that were seen party members, gatherings organized, those events were not financed by ODM. And SIFUNA was asked who is financing them. And the speed in which he gave the response was very interesting. You will ask them. I mean, like, it's just so stunning. I think he gave a very sterling kind of interview. I mean, it's discussed everywhere. And every time SIFUNA comes on a national TV for a talk show, for an interview, I mean, he becomes a point of attraction. Majority of people would like it. And it's just interesting how that happened. I mean, I have been following Kenyan politics now for 3 years, since 2022 when the election happened, and quite interesting. I've never been to Kenya. I have never ever stepped in Kenya. But when the Kenyan election happened in 2022, I started following Kenyan politics very closely, and that it's just interesting. It's interesting how things are unfolding in party. But also, I feel that the reason why I feel Edwin Sifuna was very, I mean, he was very smart in his argument, because you could easily see from his argument that he's actually against broad-based, against UDA, but he wants to work with other opposition political parties. You know, when he was asked about the issue of working with YPI leader Kalonzo Musyoka and all these, the Jubilee or Uhuru Kenyatta, you would see that he has never criticized any of those leaders of the opposition. They ask him about Matiang'i, they ask him about Gachagua, they ask him about Kalonzo Musyoka, but he has never criticized them. In fact, he said that the likes of Kalonzo Musyoka and Wiper have been working with ODM through the Azimio coalition for over 3 years now. They have supported Raila Amolo Odinga for the last 3 elections. So therefore, these are people that maybe Raila Amolo Odinga has seen that they have something in common with them. So therefore, these are the parties that they will go and work together with. He did not criticize Rigathi Gachagua, something that so many people were expecting. In fact, he twists things, and he said the language that was spoken by Rigathi of SARS is now being widely spoken by some of the ODM members. And to be specific, I know the person he was referring to. He was referring to Gladys Wanga, the governor of Homa Bay, when he came out and said, now that ODM is going into a coalition with UDA, they need 50-50 shares. A very interesting one. I mean, that was a very, very good interview there. And for those of you who haven't watched Rush to the Citizen TV channel, you will get that interview there. And these are some of the moments that I feel I need to talk about from that interview of Edwin Sifuna and Ivone Okwara on Citizen TV, The Explainer. Very standing interview there. Thank you so much. Write down in the comment section if you are a friend or if you are an audience from Kenya and you're watching this video here. Write down in the comment section what you think about that interview of the SG of ODM, Senator Edwin Sifuna, with Ivone Okwara on The Explainer. Write down what was your point, or what was the standing moment in that interview. What do you think is the moment that stand out of Sifuna in that interview? Thank you guys so much. Until next time, I'm Emmanuel Taban, and this is the Concern Podcast. Thank you. Before we close today's episode, here's a quick message from our sponsor, Wani.co. If you've been planning to build a website, but the cost has been holding you back, Wani.co makes it affordable and stress-free this time around. Whether you are an individual, a non-profit organization, or a business, Wani.co designs professional websites starting from as cheap as $250. Individuals can actually launch with a starter website of up to 7 pages and a free email, or choose an advanced option with unlimited pages, a professional portfolio, and branding support. For non-profit organizations, they can select flexible packages from basic websites to premium solutions with e-commerce features and ongoing support. And for business companies, Wani.co delivers company-ready website with hosting, staff training, and multilingual options and online stores. And the best part of it is actually that you can build your dream website within your budget. Wani.co is an affordable, accessible, and professional partner. And to get started, you can actually visit Wani.co or email them at info@wani.co, or you can get in touch with them through their WhatsApp number at +1 226 504 3322. One.co, proudly affiliated with Jobs to Apply. And if you're wondering of what I'm talking about, here are some samples of website created by One.co. You can see them right here.